As always, this is subject to change, but I wanted to get started on the written portion of my Revelation study, which deals with Revelation 13. And I did an introduction to this showing different charts and kind of giving direction about where we were going to head. But now that I've started putting proverbially the pen to the paper, I wanted to show you specifically how this works out and how the specific text from Daniel mirrors the specific text from Revelation. And as we should know, if we have done any amount of study in the book of Revelation at all, 100% of the imagery in the book is taken from other places in the Bible. And in order to gain context about what you're reading in the book of Revelation, you need to study where the original imagery was taken from. Revelation 13 is no different, and to begin the chapter, we go to the book of Daniel to see where that context was set up. So I am going to be chart heavy in this midpoint chapters portion of the Revelation study because it's necessary to do so, because there are 6 chapters that either give sequence or give parallel goings on. For those of you who are unaware of this, and I'm actually going to just page up and show you where we started with the charts in this chapter, kind of how we will end up. But page 2 is my overlay of the book of Revelation with Daniel's 70th week. And this is taking us to the end of the things which are, into the things which shall be hereafter, and giving you a very precise layout of the book of Revelation and what verses correlate to this in other passages. It is chronological. Anyone who tells you it's not is wrong. I will die on that hill. It is chronological. And as you can see, it is very easy to explain when you put it in chronological order. It gets very complex to try to explain when you take it out of order, and then you have to misconstrue other passages besides. So this is the layout of the book of Revelation from Revelation actually 4 and 5 here, which is the end of the things which are the rapture of the church. Moving into the things which shall be hereafter, and specifically with the opening of the first seal, which is the commencement of the 70th week, all the way to the end of the 70th week with Armageddon over here. And then there is a second chart, which is very heavily important to understanding why I'm doing all of these midpoint chapters in one go rather than separating them as I have done with other chapters, is because they are both parallel and sequential. Specifically where we're going to pick up with in Revelation 13, which is why I picked out this text here to put further down, is because the beast rising up out of the sea in Revelation 13:1 is the same thing as the beast descending out of the bottomless pit in Revelation 11, which we've already gone through. And we know that that happens in Revelation 11:7, and then the 2 witnesses who are overcome by the beast, their bodies lie dead in the street of that great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified, Jerusalem, for 3.5 days, after which the Spirit of God breathes life back into them. They stand on their feet, ascend to heaven with 144,000 witnesses, and in the same hour there's a great earthquake. A 10th part of the city, Jerusalem, falls. The remnant are affrighted, give glory to the God of heaven. The second woe is past. Behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Those events regarding the beast ascending out of the bottomless pit, the overcoming and killing of the 2 witnesses, their resurrection, their ascension, and that earthquake are all the end part of trumpet 6. So when we find correlating passages to that regarding the ascension of the beast in Revelation 13, we know also that that is parallel to the sequence of events in trumpet 6. And indeed, in Revelation 13, say 5 through 7, we're told then that beast who rose up out of the sea is given power to continue for the second half of the 70th week after the abomination of desolation, which is specifically pinpointed to Revelation 13:5. And that abomination of desolation is specifically what Daniel placed at the midpoint of the 70th week. So we know chapter 13 is amidst the midpoint, but what may fly under the radar is that the beginning of Revelation 13 is actually the ending of trumpet 6 to correspond directly to Revelation 11:7's beast rising up out of the bottomless pit, ascending out of the bottomless pit. That is the same as rising up out of the sea. So what we do in Revelation 13 at the beginning of this is understand that this is taking us to the end of trumpet 6, and then it's going to set us up for trumpet 7 events, specifically with the abomination of desolation. And then, like I said, it specifically says he's given power to continue 40 and 2 months. So I think it's important to understand where we are in the sequence of events in Revelation 13:1. We are amidst trumpet 6. As we can see, the commencement of Revelation 13 is parallel to Revelation 11 with respect to the beast ascending out of the bottomless pit. Here in Revelation 13, that is known as the beast rising up out of the sea. The description of the beast rising out of the sea is language taken from the book of Daniel to let us know that this is Daniel's fourth kingdom and fourth beast, as is deeply important to do with the study of these midpoint chapters. I will be including yet another chart of the layout of the book of Daniel. You will see how relevant it is to the book of Revelation via the black color coding. So just know that that's coming. Indeed, the fourth kingdom in Nebuchadnezzar's statue is the fourth beast who will rise up out of the sea, is the beast from Revelation. And this means Daniel 2, fourth kingdom, equals Daniel 7, fourth beast, equals Revelation 13's beast rising up out of the sea. Those are all talking about the same things. Revelation 13:1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, his feet were as the feet of a bear, his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Compare to Daniel 7, verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and the vision of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of heaven strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea. So here in Revelation 13, you're seeing the final of those 4 rising up out of the sea. And that is depiction, that is imagery taken from the book of Daniel, talking about 4 beasts coming up out of the sea. And we're going to be clearly informed that this one in Revelation 13 is indeed the 4th, but we'll continue to find that out. And 4 great beasts came out from the sea, diverse from one another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Okay, well, this also is telling us, yes, make sure you understand Daniel. Revelation 13 says, the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and a bear, and a lion. So indeed, the first 3 beasts which come before this 4th beast are a lion and a bear and a leopard. So this is making sure that we understand that Daniel 7 is pivotal to understanding Revelation 13. So let's continue. The first was a lion. We'll find out that the second is a bear, and the third is a leopard. And specifically, just in case you don't know, lion was a reference to Babylon, bear, Medo-Persia, leopard, Greece, and then this 4th beast is obviously Revelation 13, very different. It's the end times kingdom. So continuing, the first was a lion, like a lion, had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Behold, another beast, a second like unto a bear. It raised itself up on one side, had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. They said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. After this, I beheld, and lo, another, like unto a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, dominion was given to it. So we're moving from Babylon to Medo-Persia to Greece. And then what is this 4th? After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. So we have this beast, which is named as the fourth beast. It has great iron teeth, and it has 10 horns. Okay, here we go. This is Revelation 13. I stood upon the sand of the sea, saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Upon his horns 10 crowns, and the name of blasphemy. He was like unto the 3 that came before, and he is the 4th. So, in case anyone tries to throw Rome in there, which I know they have absolutely tried to do, that is wrong. It is 100% wrong. And I don't know where, except for the way that the writers of the King James tried to, in their commentaries, describe this fourth kingdom, believing that it was related to Rome and the Vatican. Because you have to remember that the King James was written around the time of the Protestant Reformation. There was a huge battle between Catholicism and Protestantism. And because everyone has a tendency to believe that prophecy is specifically about their generation, I mean, this is not a problem unique to us that we think everything is about us. They clearly did back then as well. So if you have grown up reading, or you've gone through your prophetic maturation process and study through these commentaries that were written alongside the King James, then you're probably going to be among the group who thinks that the fourth beast was Rome. No, it is not. It has nothing to do with Rome. That is an error to say that. When you take Daniel and Revelation 13 side by side, you can only conclude that it can't be Rome, unless you are trying to say that the 70th week has already occurred. And we don't tolerate that on this channel. We don't do that. So you can't mesh those two things and think that the fourth kingdom, the fourth beast, has anything to do with Rome, when clearly it's related to Revelation 13's midpoint of the 70th week. And the beast that is named in Revelation as being pertinent to this fourth beast, fourth kingdom, is Apollyon the Destroyer. He's an angel presently confined in the bottomless pit. So I wanted to segue with that. I don't, when I write these things, talk about what it's not. I talk about what it is. But I wanted to throw that out there because way too many people try to say that Nebuchadnezzar's statue had anything to do with Rome, or that Daniel's beast had anything to do with Rome. Both of those assertions or beliefs are 100% inaccurate. Continuing on. In Daniel 7:8, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. This is your Revelation 13 specific beast. So this is describing the kingdom, all of this, and this is describing the actual leader of said kingdom, the beast. Revelation 13's beast, the singular entity Apollyon. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. This is a singular guy, and before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and that's a reference to the lion, the leopard, and the bear. Behold, in this horn were the eyes like the eyes of a man, and the mouth speaking great things. Here's a reference to your abomination of desolation. This is the fourth one, the fourth beast. The little horn of the fourth kingdom is going to be the one who commits Revelation 13's abomination of desolation. Is going to be the one who commits Daniel 9:27's abomination of desolation. I beheld till the thrones were cast down. This is essentially a reference to Revelation 13 saying, being given power to continue 40 and 2 months from the time where he commits the abomination of desolation. At the end of that 40 and 2 months, what happens? Armageddon, and he gets tossed into the lake of fire, which is what this is about to tell us. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. And I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. Right up here, the abomination of desolation. I beheld even till the beast was slain, his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. That's described in Revelation 19. It is important to separate specific entities from kingdoms. while the beast represents an individual ruler, it also represents a singular entity in a larger whole. Sorry, I misstated that, so I'll read it again. It's important to separate specific entities from their kingdom. So while the beast represents a kingdom, hello, proofreading, it also represents a singular entity in a larger whole. And this is what I was describing earlier, is this bolded text up here in verse 7 of Daniel 7 is relating to the kingdom and the different entities that will be in the kingdom, talking specifically about the iron, the feet of iron, and the 10 horns, which are all parts of the kingdom. And yet there's another little horn that's described that comes up among the 10. So you're talking about individuals within the kingdom, like individual rulers of the kingdom, but also the kingdom as a whole. And we need to make sure that when we are reading through the text that we don't read kingdom when it says king, and that we don't read king when it says kingdom. We need to make sure that we are inferring exactly what the text means. So there are two different things in view, but they're conjoined in a specific chapter because that chapter is talking about both. So we need to pay very specific attention to the words that are used, the context that is given, to make sure that we are talking about kings when it says kings, and we're talking about kingdoms when it says kingdoms. Just be clear on that when you're studying. This is one of the things where I've seen way too many people do, is instead of leaving a singular entity as a singular entity, they make it a kingdom. And they just think that he's like the singular entity is like the figurehead for the kingdom. When it says king, it means kingdom. That is not true. If it meant kingdom, it would say kingdom. Nebuchadnezzar's statue is about kingdoms. The beasts, the 4 beasts, are about kingdoms, and one of the components of the kingdoms is a king who shall lead it. And that king is the little horn, who is a specific thing, not a person, he's an angel, which will be tossed into the lake of fire. So just make sure that when you are studying this, you make sure that you don't misconstrue terms. So that's why I will read this again. It's important to separate specific entities from their kingdoms. While the beast represents a kingdom, the 4th kingdom, it also represents a singular entity in a larger whole. For this reason, I bolded text from Daniel 7:7, because this is where we converge our understandings of a singular entity with a larger kingdom on the whole. And I'm going to actually just bold little horn also to underscore the point. It is also where we converge with text from Daniel 2 as well as Revelation 13 and 19. So the 4th beast is the 4th kingdom. Daniel 2, starting in verse 31. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and thighs of brass, his legs of iron, and his feet part of iron and part of clay. Now, just to go back up here, and this is the benefit of me doing videos rather than just writing all of this down, but this is the benefit of it, is it had great iron teeth. So I'm actually going to make that red, great iron teeth, because I'm going to make this red down here also. So it helps us to understand, if we're just used to breezing through these descriptions, that the description of iron related to the 4th beast from Daniel 7 and to the 4th kingdom from Daniel 2 is important. Iron is very important in the description, rather. So this is part of the problem too, where people try to insert Rome, is they think that there are 5 kingdoms in the statue, that it's the head of gold, that it's the chest and arms of silver, that it's the belly and thighs of brass, and then they separate the legs of iron from the feet of iron mixed with clay. And yet if we read Daniel 2, it's plain text, it tells us that the 4th kingdom is the legs of iron and feet of iron and miry clay. It combines those two and tells you it's part of a 4th kingdom. There are not 5 kingdoms in Daniel's statue in Daniel 2, there are 4. So this is where I just want to make sure that people stick to the plain text of Scripture. Do not read into something that is not there because that's what people told you or that's just what's always been believed. Daniel tells you what Daniel means. There are 4 kingdoms and there are 4 beasts. We already understand from Revelation 13 that the 4th beast mentioned in Daniel 7 is found in Revelation 13. When we are comparing Daniel 2 and Daniel 7, it is imperative to note that the iron teeth are a reference to the iron, the description of iron, and we'll make this black here. The description of iron in the 4th beast coincides with, it correlates to, it is parallel to, it is the same as the 4th section of his statue in Daniel 2. There are not 5 sections of the statue in Daniel 2. There are 4. So what we find also is text that mirrors what we found up here is that after the words that the little horn spake, this beast of the 4th kingdom, then his body is destroyed, he's given to the burning flame. And then Jesus comes and establishes his own kingdom as a replacement, which is what, if we were to continue in Daniel 7, is what it tells us. That is mirrored here in Daniel 2. So essentially, when this 4th kingdom arises, which is legs of iron and feet of iron and miry clay mixed together, that's going to exist until thou sawest, till that a stone was cut without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. Yes, so the first thing that Jesus does when he comes back is he destroys the armies that stand against him, which are composed of those who he defeats at Armageddon, the 10 kings, and then obviously the legs, which are the beast and the false prophet, which we will be discussing. But that's what we're told. I mean, this is Armageddon described. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold, broken to pieces together, became like the chaff of the summer threshing floor. The wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. The stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. That's Jesus' righteous kingdom established. Daniel 2:37. We're going to hear more about this statue and the interpretation thereof. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. He's speaking to Nebuchadnezzar. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. So Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, head of gold. After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee. Silver is less precious than gold, but it's a stronger metal. This is Medo-Persia, the ones who deposed Babylon. Cyrus the Great of Persia and Darius the Mede. That is who Daniel tells us the rule over Israel transitioned to, and they are the ones that ended the Babylonian captivity that he was amidst when he was interpreting Nebuchadnezzar's dream. So the head of gold is Babylon, specifically Nebuchadnezzar. After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another 3rd kingdom of brass. That's Greece. That's the legs and the belly and thighs of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron. So we're going to do that. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, it is the hardest of the metals, yet the least precious. So as you move from head to toe, you lose value, but you gain strength. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. So yes, you have 2 legs, and then each of those legs has a foot with 10 toes. It's all part of the same kingdom. 10 kings, 10 toes, and you have division between the iron and the miry clay. Because what are they going to require the people to do to bring them into their quote-unquote kingdom? To worship the beast, his image, or to receive his mark. Is that going to work in the way that they intend? No, it is absolutely not. But intend to do it and follow through on that intent, they will do all the same. So you have this last kingdom that is the strongest of all of them, and it is going to be decimated by Jesus Christ himself when he returns at the second coming, and he's going to dash the feet to pieces, which is mirrored in Revelation 19. The armies that stand against him he will destroy at Armageddon and feed their flesh to the fowls. The supper of the great God. He's calling the birds too. This is what that ends up with. But for those 42 months that it exists, it will be strong. The legs are Beast 1 and Beast 2 from Revelation 13, and we will discuss that. And then obviously the 10 kings give their power to the beast and try to do any number of things during that time period. But that is the gist of this imagery. In just one or two verses, we are essentially told about how their operation will go, how they will relate to the people in the end times, specifically Revelation 13 and 14, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So this is taking us through the remainder of the 70th week. But it's important to note that this is one kingdom, the legs of iron and feet of iron and miry clay. Iron is not two different kingdoms. It is one. And it is giving you a lot of information in very few verses about how that relates to the book of Revelation. As the toes of the feet were part iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of those kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So again, the Revelation 13 kingdom, the fourth one, there is no fifth described. It is a fourth kingdom. And this is all in bolded text, and that is the one that will exist when Jesus returns to defeat it and to establish his own kingdom as a replacement. Indeed, as both Daniel and Revelation show us, this fourth kingdom is the one that Jesus will defeat when he returns at Armageddon. This fourth kingdom will be led by this fourth beast who shall rise out of the sea, the little horn rising up among the 10 horns, and he shall be given a mouth speaking great words, read blasphemies, eventually to have his body given to the burning flame. And that is a composite description between Revelation 2 and 7. Daniel 2 and 7, culminated in Revelation 19:19. I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gather together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and that worshipped the image. Both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. Here in Revelation 13, we are introduced to the legs of iron. They are called Beast 1 and Beast 2. Beast 1 was already named in Revelation 9. He is the beast who shall rise up out of the sea. He is he who shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. He is Apollyon the destroyer. Revelation 17:8. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Revelation 9:11. They had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Revelation 11:7. When they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, shall overcome them and kill them. And Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Below is a chart. I'm gonna center that a little bit better. Below is a chart of the book of Daniel that we correlate to the book of Revelation. This chart will be revisited when we explore Revelation 17 and 18 and discuss the imagery surrounding Babylon. Because where it started is where it will wind up, down here. This is not for now, but we will discuss it later when it leads back to the place it started. For now, please pay specific attention to that which is color-coded in black. So what we have here is, I'll make this a little bigger. This statue from Daniel 2, the legs and feet of iron, the legs of iron and the feet of iron and miry clay. It's the beast in your 10 kings, and that's the beast with 10 horns, which is from Daniel 7. So Daniel 2 and Daniel 7 give us the same imagery, and that is the one that will exist when Jesus comes back at the second coming, which we already learned. When we move down to Daniel 7, more from Daniel 7, at the end of the Greek Empire, the next empire listed will be the little horn that comes up among the 10 horns. The foreshadow of that was Antiochus Epiphanes, who was the little horn who came up among the 4 horns of the Greek Empire. So this is just telling you how all of the imagery from each of the chapters relates color-coded wise to each of the kingdoms. Antiochus Epiphanes was a foreshadow of the beast that we are concerned with. He was the little horn, again, who came up among the 4 horns of the Greek Empire to foreshadow the little horn that will come up among the 10 horns in this 4th kingdom. And this 4th kingdom, this 4th beast, will be the one who commits the abomination of desolation, which is prophesied to occur at the midpoint of the 70th week. Antiochus Epiphanes also foreshadowed him in that when he took away the sacrifices for 2,300 days. It was 1,150 evenings plus 1,150 mornings, so 2,300 sacrifices. But regardless, that was also foreshadowed in Daniel 11, 21 through 35 to foreshadow the abomination of desolation that will occur in the midpoint of the 70th week, which is Daniel 11:36. The king shall do according to his will. The king of the locusts, the angel of the bottomless pit, shall do according to his will. He shall exalt himself, magnify himself above every god, shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. Read, give him power to continue 42 months, for that is determined shall be done. So that's where I ended this for now. Understanding that there was a lot of additional description that I just gave you that I'm not going to write about, I'm going to assume that people can conclude some of this on their own, because I don't want to have to spell every single thing out. Maybe I will allow you guys to give feedback on how much extra I should describe, but it's color-coded and it's bolded, and I have to assume a level of knowledge. I don't want to treat people like they're stupid and can't put 2 and 2 together. All I wanted to do was point out that if you're trying to insert Rome in here, you're going to have a difficult time following, and it's wrong to do so. So that was really the only thing that I wanted to take a little extra time to discuss. But right now we are in the about to conclude Trumpet 6. Because the very next thing after the beast rises up out of the sea, it talks about the deadly head wound that he has and the appearance of the deadly head wound, and it's healed, and all the world wonders after him. Well, how does he get that? From his skirmish with the 2 witnesses. So we are still amidst the time when the 2 witnesses were introducing the beast, who is introduced in Revelation 11 at the tail end of Trumpet 6. So that's where we're back to. But who is this? Well, this is from Daniel 2 and this is Daniel 7, appearing in Revelation 13 as the one who will exist when Jesus comes back at the second coming. So don't try to insert Rome. That's wrong. There are 4 kingdoms. There are 4 beasts, the 4th of which is in Revelation 13. That is all for now. I will work on more to come. See you guys later.